impressed with the turnout. I'm so glad that you're all here today.
It's the first time being this far south for Creative Mornings, so kind of no pressure.
It's a little flattered. It's okay.
And thank you guys for helping with our collaborative art project. Our team member Krista put that together. Krista, where are you? There she is.
Yeah.
Krista is not only a member of our team, but her artwork is all over our store. We consider her our house artist.
Whether she likes it or not.
That's right. So I think what we're going to do here is just kind of tell you guys our story and how we've been marinating on endurance for the last month or so as we've been kind of thinking through this.
Yeah, because we've been talking about it a lot and seeing a lot of recurring themes of our growth and our founding and the last about 3.5 years that we've been working together. So when we were approached about this topic, it immediately hit.
We were like, oh yeah, we can talk about that.
I think we actually chuckled. We're like, oh yeah, we'll talk about endurance, okay.
Yeah. I guess so we can start with where we started. So Lauren and I have been together for 3.5.
I think it's 3.5 years.
You know when you're in a relationship for a long time and you're like, what was I before that person? Yeah, basically that. So in the early days, my husband Drew, who is DJing, say hi, Drew. He's the third silent member of our team.
He keeps us sane, we're going to be honest.
And he's really good at numbers and money and stuff. He and I had an Airbnb in Boston back in the olden days. And we operated that for a short term and then realized that it was really, really difficult to manage that really, really far away. So we didn't have that for very long, and then we sold that and bought a cabin in Floyd County, Virginia. And so just through doing everything, like, the type of people that just start everything and do everything themselves, was operating that by myself. And then he and I were talking and thinking that it would be really cool to have a property management company. Like all these things that we were learning could be translated into a business. And so I reached out to Lulu and I
had another full-time job.
Yeah, she definitely had a full-time job.
Do you want to get coffee? Helen rolls up to me one day at work. You want to get coffee? I just want to talk to you about some stuff. Because I am reckless at heart. I said, absolutely, stranger. I'd love to get coffee with you. Let's talk about all your ideas.
Yeah, we were not friends. We were acquaintances. But she is just this amazing person and seems...
So, please.
So, she was operating Gladiola Girls, which is a upscale...
women's clothing boutique that used to exist up on Main Street.
And so...
Welcome.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
And so when when we were kind of thinking through, like, who is someone who could, like, mirror my energy and, like, create something magical with me? And I remember Drew saying, just find that person and make it go for it. And I'm like, well, I know who she is, but I don't know if she's going to think that's creepy. But you didn't think I was creepy.
It takes a lot more than that to freak me out. In career retail, it takes a lot to freak me out.
So, so that was 2019?
Yeah, we first started talking in 2019. Yeah, we didn't really start working together until 2020. And
right.
Helen had accumulated a couple other local short-term rentals in that interim. And when we really started to work together closely was a few months after the pandemic started.
Right.
Yeah, which turned out to be a wonderful thing for short-term rentals. People have more freedom. They want to go more places and do more things. So the growth and the potential is explosive and just more than one person can do on their own.
Right. And I had some experience doing it, but I didn't know how to run a business and I didn't know how to create a system or a workflow or a process. I was just like, I can probably we just wing it, right? Like that would be
No.
Turns out, no.
We don't wing it. We can be reckless in a lot of ways.
In the early days,
there was admittedly some winging out.
There was lots of winging.
We thought we knew more than we did.
Yeah.
And you learn a lot. as you're doing something new. It's an industry that's still kind of the Wild West.
Right. It was definitely the Wild West back then, too.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, the growth was explosive, and there was a lot of interest, and there was like more work and demand than we could even keep up with, which was fantastic because it meant that what we were doing, you know, the revenue that we got from that period has helped fund our future growth. So that was good. But I do feel like, back to the reckless thing, like I do think the common thread, you know, in talking to entrepreneurs is that you have to be a little crazy to do it, right? You have to like have a little bit of an overinflated sense of confidence to do something that you're totally ill-prepared to do and just keep doing it.
The number of times we would look at each other and say, well, how hard can it be?
Hard.
It can be hard. And it can be 12, 14, 16-hour days for months on end.
Yeah.
Yeah. But rewarding too. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. So, all right. So that was, so Getaways then existed.
And our portfolio was exploding just faster than really we could keep up with.
For us, right? For two people and a handful of independent contractors. So I think we had 15 properties. We went from 2 to 15.
In the span of 8 months?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then the pandemic happened. That we were in the pandemic, but then everything retail-wise, like remember the early days of the pandemic when it was going to be 2 weeks, and then that was not 2 weeks.
It'll be over any day now. We can start doing things again.
So then, we're in the era where everything was closed down, but then businesses were starting to open back up. And
we started to brainstorm because of who we are as people and entrepreneurs. What can we do next? Like, we're busy, we're active, we're doing a lot, but what can we do next? And we started to pitch ideas to each other about maybe we'll have a vintage sustainable lifestyle store. We can structure it like this. We can work with collectors. We can build out teams and really pursue our passion of sustainable living, sustainable design.
And creating that type of experience for our guests, and so using our store to, basically supply our own needs. Because, one of the challenges of living in a rural place is that if the infrastructure for something doesn't exist, sometimes you have to create it. So, we knew that there was there's no fast track to vintage furniture, if you're just doing it one piece at a time. If you're just a hobbyist collector or whatever, you can't do it quickly because it's not like everything that you happen to find at a thrift store or a yard sale or on Facebook Marketplace is going to be good and what you need when you need it. So we knew that we needed a backlog of inventory if we were going to continue to like push the business forward and grow it into the vision that we wanted it to be. Because when we first got off the ground, we had a vision for these curated getaway spaces. Like we wanted them to be filled with vintage furniture. We wanted each one to have a unique feel and be like respectful of the house and the space and the environment and everything.
But still really fit into the aesthetic that we had built and wanted to cultivate for Curated Getaways as a business. It needed to all feel cohesive and make sense with every property still maintaining an identity.
Right. And in the beginning it wasn't.
Oh, no.
It really wasn't. And I think also in the beginning you kind of you take what you can get, right? Like when you're doing a new thing and no one knows about that new thing, then when you pitch the new thing, like if anybody even listens to what you're saying and goes, okay, I'll give you money, you're like, all right, awesome.
And we were hungry, we were moving, in hindsight, we ended up working with clients that maybe weren't an ideal fit, properties that we knew weren't ideal fits.
Properties that we didn't have creative control over, and like we had, it was hard for us, right? Because we needed the revenue, right, to keep our doors open, but we were really unsatisfied creatively. Mm-hmm. Because if you're a creative person and you kind of have a vision for something, and someone is like really pushing like their vision, but they're doing it under your brand, there's a lot of clash there.
And it turns into, unfortunately, just more work, more energy, more team expense than is worth the revenue coming in. We learned pretty quickly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So all right, so when we decided to open the store, the story about that is kind of ridiculous and very in true us form.
Yes, we're going to backtrack a little bit. We had started brainstorming new ideas. Literally, I think 2 weeks after we started having these conversations, we learned that this space was opening. And Helen had taken design clients here. We had a good relationship with the previous tenant. And
who also had a vintage furniture store. She's wonderful. She's amazing. She's still creating, but she was ready to get out of owning her own storefront. And pandemic was a weird time, and she was doing it all by herself, which now we know I would never do all of this all by myself. So my hat's off to her for being as wildly successful as she was.
Agreed.
Yeah. So the space, she told us, hey, I'm going to be closing. And at first we were like, don't do it. We need you. We love you. You're amazing.
What do you need? Clearly we have nothing but time on our hands. Yeah. We'll help you. We'll do it.
Yeah. And she was like, no, I think I'm ready to kind of pass the baton on. So we got the inside scoop that this space was available. Because available real estate in Lexington for rent is like, it's a small town. So like a space that's going to work for your type of business is hard to come by.
And we had a checklist of things that we knew we needed if we were going to do this. And we anticipated 5 or 6 years we'll start really talking about this. And the probability of a space opening that hit all of our checkpoints
that we could afford
was low, but it happened.
Right. Because we were like, listen, like we have this 5-year plan. We're gonna work. We're gonna build business. We're gonna build revenue. We're gonna save. And then we're going to do this thing, right? And we're going to do it right with a big, giant plan, and it's going to be beautiful from the get-go.
Oh, yeah. And imagine us after, I think, 2 months of work and setup, from start to finish, then opening our storefront.
Our 5-year plan became a 5-week plan. Because we, again, we had to make we were not thinking about doing the retail store at that point. It was a twinkle in our eye, but the space became available. We knew that if we didn't jump on it, somebody else would, and then what would we do?
Yeah.
So
we'd sit there and we'd regret. Like, can we take a risk now and really work hard 12, 14, 16-hour days?
Right. So the very first thing that we did was throw together some projections, which were made up. I mean, just
in hindsight, we had faith in them.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is that's what it is, right? You're saying, okay, I'm going to do my market research. I'm going to figure this out. This is what I think I'm going to do, and go for it. So then the first thing we did was after we put that together, we met with our accountant, and we were like, talk us out of this. Tell us why this is a dumb idea, and he did not.
He was like, if these numbers are correct,
you should do it.
This is great.
We're like, are you sure?
Yeah. We kept expecting obstacles and not hitting them. Like, we really tried to talk ourselves out of this.
Right.
And
then we knew the cash we had on hand, right? So we were totally bootstrapped. We were like, okay, we have this much cash to buy inventory, to get everything set up, computers, point of sale, everything. And we figured that we could afford our rent for the year, and we could afford the cost of starting out. And at that point, it was just us that were on the payroll. So we were like, we can afford ourselves. So we figured if we gave it 12 months and it didn't work, then we walk away.
And clearly we have not done that. We fell in love with doing this, and the creative outlet that it's become, and the reconnection that we have to our community as well. We've had a lot of strength in the community here in Lexington.
Yeah.
Kind of mirroring some of the growth that we had in Getaways, because we were moving so fast, doing so much, doing as much as we could justify with the hours that we had in our day. We ended up, again, in hindsight, making some of the same mistakes, working with collectors that we knew weren't ideal. It was shooting in the dark with what we wanted to do, what direction we wanted to go. Even though we each had our own individual visions of what we wanted curated interiors to become, we knew there was a long runway to get us there. And in that time and in that growth and evolution, our two very different ideas of what this business would be really started to marry and merge and become this. And I think once a month we look at each other and say, this is the best it's ever been in here. We're never going to be able to top this.
Yeah.
And we just continue to evolve and grow.
Yeah.
And do more and work hard.
Yeah.
Turns out you have to. No one warns you.
Yeah, I mean, and we definitely didn't do it alone. I gave Drew a shout out earlier. He definitely helped with a lot of the back end stuff. And with Lauren's experience in retail, she knew how to set up the point of sale and the website and all those things that needed to happen. And then we did have some team members in the very beginning. And part of I think like what we love to cultivate here, like as creatives and as ADHDers.
It is strong. The attention deficit is really strong.
ADHDers find each other, I think. We had other creatives that have been part of our journey that have worked with us for a little bit, and then a lot of those have gone on to start their own successful businesses and like learning the ecosystem that's needed to run a business. It's not you alone. You have to have other people. You have to have other creatives. You have to have everyone else to support one another. And we work with our past creatives all the time, and we can't run our business without them, truly.
Correct. And I think people can tell you, oh, you just work hard and you do a series of things correctly and you can do anything. And it's easy to say that and hear that, but until you see someone else do it, it doesn't really set into reality. I think so. Being, again, the reckless people we are in making decisions and choices and just doing it and trying things and not being afraid to fail, accepting failure as part of growth and progress.
Yeah.
I like to tell myself that we did that in front of people who were prepared to receive that information and grow from that as well.
Mm-hmm. And I think I think my point with the talking about your get out of jail pass, how do you take the risk without losing your shirt? And I think that's kind of an important thing to have as part of your process is okay, I'm going to do all these things and I'm going to take risks, because you have to take risks in order to get ahead. But how can you do that in a way that is safe enough that you're not going to lose your house in the process? I feel like when you know that even if it all falls apart, you're still okay, then you're more inclined to take risks, which means that you're more inclined to be successful, I think.
And I feel like we were kind of at the peak of some of our growth when, about a year ago, it kind of felt like our lives simultaneously fell apart. Because life happens. We're as complex individuals personally as we are as business owners and entrepreneurs. And we won't get into the personal nitty-gritty of it. You guys don't need to know that fun stuff. We can talk about it later if you have questions.
If you want to trauma bond later.
Trauma bonding at Curative. Welcome. And it gave us the opportunity to sit down, the three of us, Helen, myself, and Drew, and have some of the really hard conversations. What if our lives do not have the space for the businesses that we've built? What if we need to
what if one
doors?
of us wants to get out? What if two of us want to get out? Whatever.
Yeah. What if we're just done? Yeah. What if it's curated by literally anybody else? We're out of here. And while in that moment, it felt like the lowest of the low. And in some ways, I think we could say it was hard. It was hard.
Yeah.
But the vulnerability that we needed to have with each other and with our team to say, hey, this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're going through right now. And we are going to do everything in our power to push through it, to work through it. We need help. We need support.
Yeah.
And that we weren't afraid to ask for those things and be open with the people around us professionally like that led to more growth than I could have anticipated, and just more strength and more direction. We knew the things that we needed to do. We sat down and mapped everything out. Yeah. If we are going to get through this, these are all the steps we have to take. These are all the changes that we have to make. And we have X amount of time to do it. Yeah. And can we successfully achieve all of those things?
Right, because I think, when you're flying the airplane and building it at the same time, it's kind of fast and loose in the beginning. And when timing hits right with the economy, like when things were going well for short-term rentals, and like we were making money whether we were doing a good job or a bad job. I'm not saying we were doing a bad job, but the way that we were operating the business, the systems that we had, like things were not working, but that's part of the process, right? You try a thing, the thing doesn't work, you try a new thing, which is the endurance to keep trying the new things and pushing through it. But we had to, have our come to Jesus talk and say, okay, like we know that our ideas are solid, we know that we have the right people in our corner, and we just need to figure out like where are we bleeding the most and how can we fix that first, and then what are the priorities after that. And I do want to say, our friend Adam over here is a business consultant, and he was part of that process for us. We called him our work therapist during that period of time.
And it was very, very true.
Yeah, he just saw our, like, the first time he was like, can I look at your books? We're like, no, no, that's embarrassing. We had the hard conversations, and we figured out, like Lauren was saying, one of the things for us that was draining us as a business was clients in our portfolio that didn't line up with our brand vision and didn't, you realize that when you are creating systems and you're creating a process, the goal is efficiency. And anything that gets in the way of your efficiency is going to slow your business down, and anything that slows your business down is going to cost you money. And so we had to figure out, where are we losing, like why are our staff costs so high? And it was because we were doing a lot of hand-holding and a lot of redirecting and a lot of convincing.
Why am I waking up with heartburn every morning?
Yeah.
And thinking of these 3 specific clients.
And we had been,
affectionately.
We had been in business long enough that we weren't going to beg anybody to work with us. Like if it's not a fit for everybody, it's not a fit. And so that was, a really hard thing, because basically we were like, okay, this money that we're making now.
Where's the underscore?
None of us drive.
Hey, dude. Where's your car?
It's fine.
Is it over there?
I didn't expect this.
What's this about?
Nor did I.
All right, see ya.
This every morning that we have these questions. It's just part of living in Lexington. Everyone who lives here now, people in Lexington, can you say that this is a normal thing? Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
Welcome to Lexington, everybody.
I gotta run go. I open in 10 minutes.
All right. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
What are we talking about?
Clients. Oh yeah,
Yes.
clients. So anyway, when we made the decision to call back what we were bringing in so that we could open up our potential for more revenue and open up ourselves for creativity and doing what we were really passionate about, I feel like the growth and the strength that our business has experienced since we started making those calls, which is like January of this past year, where we started just like cutting
really
things down,
cracking down. We effectively built a profile of the ideal client, the ideal property, who we are most prepared to work with, and who will be successful working maybe with someone else.
Yeah. And doing that allowed us to focus our energy on this space here, because we had started this business, but we couldn't, the 2 businesses were very tethered together, so if one of them wasn't successful, then we couldn't have one propping the other up. But because the first business had challenges that we had to solve, this business was getting the short end of the stick all the time, because the other business is a 24/7 business, right? It needed us all the time. And so getting the right things in place, getting the right people in place, Krista has been an angel from heaven.
And I think we should tell her more than we do, and I'm worried that we're already smothering.
And then Michael, who's over at the counter over there, he was one of our collectors, and we, again, asking for help. Like, we need more people, we need more help. Hey, Michael, do you want to hang out with us, like, every day?
And, like, we'll pay you to do it.
Yeah. And we'll feed you sandwiches.
Yes, coffee.
So, yeah, and so that, like, it's like the clouds parted when that happened, and we went through that hard phase. And I mean, there's always going to be hard things, and there are going to be new things that we try all the time that fail, but
turns out life never stops.
Yeah.
It just keeps going, and
Right.
the only choice you have is to keep going with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm so glad we're doing this, and so glad that we have had the endurance.
Yes.
to do so.
Well, and to, like with the bike, we're taking pieces of something, pieces that don't necessarily fit together, but we're going to make it work because we are creative, we are hardworking, we are nothing if not bullheaded.
Yeah.
We're going to make something new from what we have in our hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you so much. I love that. I was talking to my husband on the drive down how sometimes you have to give something up and be like, maybe this is a really big mistake, but if you give it up and make space, something beautiful new can come from that. I make this sound like that was the plan. No, he really had to convince me, and I really kind of like kicked and screamed my way through it, and I'm really glad I did it. So there we go. Questions. What do you guys want to know? They are yours for another 5 minutes, so ask everything you've always wanted to know. Lipstick shade, hairdressers, anything about the shop, curated getaways, there's a lot there. What questions do we have? Megan, can I? We'll continue Megan's practice with the microphone, and everybody wants to say something, please use the microphone.
Okay, well, I'm very interested in knowing what your self-care looks like in those moments of the hard times.
Usually we sat down and decided that we're allowed about 20 minutes to 1 hour of crying in front of each other. I'm only kind of joking about that. But communicating openly, honestly, being really vulnerable, especially when it's hard to be vulnerable. That's when it's the most important to open yourself up to the people around you and really let them in so they can help you.
And I think too, not being afraid to take a step away. Because I definitely had a period where I was going through a really hard time, and I took 2 weeks and I turned my phone off. And I got a new phone that was now my personal phone. So I have a personal phone and a work phone. So boundaries, really important.
Yes.
And because we're a partnership, she was able to support me through that, and I can support her through that. And no business, no nothing is ever worth yourself. You have to take care of yourself, and when you step away, then when you come back, you're better. And it's scary to step away because you think it's all gonna fall down while I'm gone, but it doesn't.
I kind of want to record this for all the entrepreneurs we work with, so every time they have a moment, we can just play that back to them.
New mantra, no business is worth yourself.
Yes, for real.
Other questions? Lexington people are very polite. Question for you. First thing that comes to mind, what was the hardest moment each of you had to endure over the last 3 years since you went on this journey? Personal or professional, however you're willing to share.
Go for it, sis.
I won't get into too personal. I had a big life change. A 9-year season of my life ended, and I thought it was going to be a lifelong season of my life, and it wasn't. And to sit down and reevaluate, is Lexington where I want to be? Why am I here? Why am I doing anything that I'm doing? And I think that was one of the 20 to 60-minute crying sessions. Yeah. I'd say that was my toughest point. But about 8-9 months out of that, I am doing so much better. And it is entirely because of the support from our team and our community.
So yeah, around the same time, we had some personal stuff going on with our kids. We have a child with special needs, and I felt like I was failing at everything, failing as a mom because I was, I had a business that I cared about, and failing as a business owner because I had kids that I care about, and trying to do both and be everything for everyone. And and I think that was kind of that period where I realized that, put your oxygen mask on first. Yeah. And also that it's all not that serious. It's just business, it's just money, it's just, whatever. You have to take care of yourself. And then when you do that, then you have the strength to move forward. And it's better. I was, talking earlier about how, I've always had anxiety. I've always had like intrusive thoughts like every night, like have to turn your brain off, have to turn your brain off. And going through trauma, going through like really, really hard stuff and not dying, because your brain is telling you you're gonna die, right? Like whatever the worst case scenario is, that's gonna happen and you're gonna just keel over and die for some reason. And then when you don't die, and then you wake up and it's actually okay, and then you're stronger than you realize that you ever were, like that's a really great feeling. And not that I would really want to go through everything again, but I'm glad I did. Thank you.
All right, last call. There we go. Megan, bring us home. Oh, and then Heather will bring us home.
I'm full of questions all the time, so you'll have to stop me. Okay, if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
Starting another business.
Yeah. Because at this point, the thought of working for someone else is so completely out of our own minds. How would we do that?
Who would want it?
Yeah. In the state that we're in, we're incredibly mathy, we're sassy, we're a great time. But yeah.
Yeah, no, for real though, starting another business.
Yeah.
No,
Accidentally.
employers.
I'd be like, somebody needs to do that, I guess I'll do that.
Yeah.
Now, in your finding and curating stuff, was there a particular like piece of like furniture or accessory or anything that unexpectedly brought you so much joy when you found it?
Yeah.
Are you also thinking about Mamie Metropolis?
Oh, I was thinking
The Chikiwa.
Alright, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, Mamie Metropolis was an early acquisition.
Sold on day one.
Sold day one, and we regretted pricing her as low as we did. And I think it kind of an eccentric mile marker for us. Like, this is the weird that we're looking for. We want things that we know you're not going to find anywhere else, and sometimes those things are.
Memory is. They need to know.
That is her Christian name. Her affectionate name is Titty City. Apologies to anyone who brought their children today. She was a mannequin front half plastered in anatomical, like textbook descriptions with little drawer pulls as nipple tassels. And we all loved Mamrie. And the collector we picked her up from, it's like, you really want this? I'm like, I cannot express to you with enough of my soul how much I need this. Yeah.
And mine is less crazy, but we had this Jaguar lamp. And she was so beautiful, and she was
sleek. She was
sleek
slinky.
and long and black, and she had a cool tail, and she had her light bulb on the inside, and she had like a yellow eye that glowed when you turned her on. And we sold her very early as well, and I should have priced her like $10,000 just so that no one would ever buy it. But anyway, I don't have a tattoo yet, but I let my husband know recently that when I get my first tattoo, it's gonna be my Jaguar lamp. So yeah, when you're like, what item? And I'm like, the one that haunts me that I let go away. And I scour like the internet to like find her again, and I haven't found her yet.
I'm pretty sure that's a business expense.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. It's marketing.
All right, great. Thank you. You are very welcome to stay seated. You look incredibly comfortable. Public service announcements. What do you have coming up? Events, opportunities. Do you need help with anything? I would love to help. Raise your hand. And I'm going to walk this microphone. This is where we're testing. We have a new AV. This is where we're testing how far the Bluetooth is connected. Nope, not very far.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to remind everybody that November 7th is Election Day, elections.virginia.gov. Make sure you are registered. Even if you think you're registered, you can check there to make sure, find where to vote. Some places can early vote. I'm not sure about Lexington. So, yeah, get that done, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Who else? Please make your way to the front because my microphone will not carry that far.
Hi,
If you're new today, please follow Creative Mornings on Instagram. We are CM_SVN.
Short and sweet, thanks. Ashley does marketing for Creative Mornings and the Shenandoah Community Capital Fund. Thank you.
Good morning. Sorry I was late. I was at work, actually. I really was. My name is Sybil Adams, and I just purchased University Florist here in Lexington. I'm so excited.
Our beautiful.
Oh, you're welcome.
Is that the flowers?
They are. Aren't
Yes,
they
if you love the flowers, University Florist up on Main Street.
And we refer to our creations as she's as well, or he's, or whatever the feel is, because flowers have feelings too. I won't get into that right now. But I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been so kind and so thoughtful. People are coming in the shop. And congratulating me and Carolyn, and she is staying with me for a while. She will never leave if I have anything to do with it, because she is fantastic. And for those of you that know her, know that that is so true. George is a delight to have, and he asked me to bring him a muffin if there was a muffin available. And so, if not, I will find it probably at Pronto. So I just wanted to introduce myself and say thank you for just being you guys and being kind. So.
Thank you, Sybil, and congratulations. Mary, will you come down to me? Thank you. Mary Sullivan, everybody.
Thank you. I want to introduce myself. I am coordinating a regional project for the Shenandoah Valley. We are looking to increase internships. So if any of you small businesses are looking for an intern, I can help connect you with the colleges and universities throughout the valley, also high schools as well. This is part of a statewide effort, and I have a lot of resources, free resources for you. I also have, if you're able to have a paid intern, I have some matching funds that can help offset those wages for your intern. So again, a lot of free resources, and I am basically here to connect you with students.
Great.
Wow.
Thank you, Mary. We will put VTOP in the newsletter. Thanks for asking. She has cards. Mary, would it be okay if we put your email in the newsletter as well so people can reach out to you directly?
That would be great. And actually, one more thing. So this is a fairly new initiative, and so anything you can do to help me spread the word, if you know others that might be interested, speaking engagements, opportunities to get out in front of people, let me know.
Great, thanks, Mary. What you guys don't know is we need to show the state that we really need interns, so they keep funding it. If we don't take her up on this, that'll go away. So, you sir, she'll help you pay for interns, which is delightful. Come on up, please.
Thank you. I just want to say congratulations and kudos to my rock star neighbors. Y'all are just such an inspiration. I'm 2 doors down at another new business called Violet Consignment. Unlike my rock star friends, I had no business model. I didn't know what I was doing, and I'd never owned a storefront type business before.
You're killing it.
I will say, bars set very low expectations. I do feel like I'm kind of blowing it out of the water, but it is a primarily women's apparel and accessories consignment store. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never lived anywhere where there wasn't a consignment store. I love consignment shopping. But between Harrisonburg and Roanoke, there's really not a high-end women's consignment store that I've been able to find. So I opened one. So 6 months in, it's really fun. I don't have a partner, so I am working a lot, but it's been worth it. It's been fun. So follow me on Instagram, and if you need some apparel, or if you want to consign with me, I'm doing a true consignment model. So bring me your Gucci and Prada, Tory Burch and Lululemon.
Thank you, Chief. All right, last call. Public service announcements, events coming. Oh, wonderful, Alyssa, take it away.
So I'm the Glitter Bee, and I have, for my for-profit side, I do some craft nights and stuff like that. So there's a sugar skull painting party at Plaza Antigua in Waynesboro on the 2nd of November. There's still, I think, like 7 seats left for that. But as far as help, I'm also trying to build a board of directors for the Randy Project. So if anybody wants to be on the board of directors for a creative nonprofit that's doing pretty things for people going through hard stuff, please talk to me.
Wonderful. Thanks, Alyssa. How do you want people to reach out to you? Email? Megan, you have an event coming up in Waynesboro. Will you share about that, please?
Sure. Hey, Hey, me again. Okay, so I own a shop in downtown Stanton. Some of you may know me from that, but I also am the small business specialist part-time for the city of Waynesboro to help with the initiative to revitalize the downtown small business network out there. That's where I live. I don't just like to take jobs in other cities all the time. And we are hosting, we're hosting a small business social mixer thing. Think speed dating for business. So if you are an expert in the field of some sort of business niche, marketing, accounting, other things that business owners weren't thinking about in the beginning and they were just reckless, or you're the reckless business owner, come see us. It's open to everyone. You can get in touch through SCCF or me at the City of Waynesboro. It's November 9th at 5 p.m. at the Shenandoah Valley Arts Center, which is a beautiful new space if you haven't been. Bring your challenges and get some help. We are also doing a Chamber 101 event on the 15th, and many other things in the city of Waynesboro and Stanton. So come visit us, Lexingtonians? Lex people.
Wonderful. Thank you. Who else? Going once? There we go. Let's try this. Let's see. If not, you got to speak out.
Hi, my name's Krista, and I wanted to tell you about an Open Studios event that's happening at, we have a hard time naming it, Colony Compound. It's not a cult, but it is. A wonderful couple here in Lexington bought the old juvenile correctional facility down in Arnold Valley. We call it Natural Bridge Station, if you're a local. And if you're a creative looking for a space, we have a lot of spaces available despite having 12 artists now on board. And by artists, I mean a wide range of people who are doing a number of different things that are within the realm of the creative. So if you want to come check out studio spaces, if you just want to come snoop and see what renovations have been made to the old juvenile facility, Melissa will be there in her studio, and I'll be there in mine. So it's 11/11 at 11 for starting.
All right.
Yeah.
Where do people find out more on the interwebs?
If you put anything into Google that says Arnold Valley and artists, I bet you'll find it. But we are on Instagram at Thunder Bridge. So Thunder Bridge is the name. Thunder Bridge Rocks. Yeah. You're right. Okay.
Cool. Thunder Bridge Rocks, everybody. Did I see another hand somewhere? All right, going once, going twice. Okay. If you've been to any of these events, you know I always have the last word, so why switch it up? A fun story, Creative Mornings was first conceived of by Megan and me at the first Shenandoah Valley Entrepreneurship Summit a year ago. We're like, hey, should we do this? Like, sure. What's your last name? So here we are a year later, and we had the pleasure of actually having Helen and Lulu at the second Entrepreneurship Summit for the Shenandoah Valley just this week. And Megan and I were so inspired by their talk about being co-founders and going on this journey together that we were like, hey, we should co-found something. And I was like, I don't have capacity, but our deal when we started out, similar to you, when we started out with Creative Mornings in January, we said we're going to give this a year and see how it goes. And if we ever have to fret whether people come, if we're ever worried about, we're always worried about money, so if you have some cash in your sofa cushions and you want to throw it away, please do. But we said we'll give it a year and see what happens. And I'd say it's been going pretty well. So
Effing fantastic.
Or that, yes. So we said if year one goes well, we're going to start a nonprofit so we can start applying for grants so that we don't constantly have to ask everyone else for money, but we can go the proper route. So with that being said, if anyone here knows how to start a nonprofit and file the paperwork in 90 minutes or less, I'd love to talk to you. And tell me all the things that you did wrong so we don't do them wrong. We're going to find our own mistakes and mess it up in other ways, no problem. But we lean on you. Whatever, if anyone here is an expert on starting a nonprofit, please let us know. That would be fantastic. Okay. 3 more things, just kidding. Ha. At the very end, our beautiful photographer, thank you for being here, Melissa, will take a group picture, so I'll leave it up to you to where we do that, outside, inside, up there, best seats in the house. We'll figure it out. Thank you. Secondly, we have one more event this year, November 17, at the Russell Museum in Waynesboro. Our speaker will be On the Road Collaborative, which is a fantastic nonprofit that is serving youth in the Valley. So please come support, join. Hi, I'm getting a big smile over here. So please come and hang out. We'd love to see you for the last event of this year. We're planning something really exciting for January. So please save the date for January 20th. Easy. Cool. Okay. And lastly, if you don't have to rush straight to work and you want to enjoy beautiful Lexington, please do. These ladies kept their store shut so we could be here, which means they're currently losing out on revenue because we're taking up this beautiful space. So if you want to shop in this store, please do. If you want to shop along any of these small little beautiful streets up on Main Street, go get coffee at Pronto, tell them how much we love them and appreciate them for supporting us. Check out the galleries, there's so much to see in Lexington. So if you have another hour, stroll around and enjoy. Hopefully we'll be back here next year. And that's all for today. Round of applause for everybody.